The road to democracy for Myanmar has been anything but smooth. Today is not the first time that the armed forces, or Tatmadaw, have cracked down on the democracy movement and its leader Aung San Suu Kyi. The military's first power grab occurred in 1962.
It was a 1988 youth-led movement that gave birth to the National League for Democracy, or NLD. Aung San Suu Kyi rose to prominence, rallying massive groups demanding an end to the military rule that started with a power grab in 1962. In response, martial law was imposed. Ms. Suu Kyi was detained and a purge left around 3,000 people dead. In 1990, Myanmar held its first general election in 30 years. A vote the NLD won, and it did so resoundingly, securing 80% of seats in parliament. The military government refused to acknowledge the victory. Instead, it said the vote was meant to be for an assembly that would draft the new constitution. That new constitution would not be in place until 18 years later, in 2008. Under the charter, the military retains hold of 25% of seats in parliament and command of key ministries. 2 years later, it called for another election, one that kept NLD members from contesting due to new laws. Ms. Suu Kyi was released after those polls failed. The NLD finally got its victory in the 2015 election and secured a supermajority in the parliament. Last November, it won again, decisively. Ms. Suu Kyi and her party remain hugely popular at home, even though her international reputation was damaged by the issue of Rohingya refugees. But analysts believe that this could be the end of her political career.
There is little future for her, I believe, at this point in time. And after all, I do think that's what the military want most. They do not trust her, they do not like her, and they do not want her to be part of the country's future.
The army has pledged to hold fresh elections after a year-long state of emergency.
There's always a possibility that it's going to be open-ended, but I do think they're going to try and wind it up within the 12 months. But after all, even in 1988, when they took power, they said this was a transition regime, and that went on for over 30 years.